I called her cute by mistake, and the alien warrior turned bright red. Aboard the SS Dauntless, a diplomatic vessel so old its ship's log still had an analog backup, and an onboard coffee maker that hissed like it had opinions. Jamie Trenner was desperately trying not to vomit into his translation collar. He'd spent the last 3 days reviewing first contact protocols, cultural faux pas, and what not to say to a species that considered blinking aggressively a declaration of war. Unfortunately, don't panic had not been one of the listed instructions, and his nervous system had gone rogue the moment the docking sequence began. The ship shuddered as the airlock sealed. A chorus of mechanical clunks echoed through the hall like a drum roll performed by someone with no sense of rhythm. Jamie stood in the reception chamber in his crisp ambassadorial uniform, which managed to be both too tight and oddly flammable, clutching a datapad that he had dropped twice already. He was flanked by the ship's captain, 2 protocol drones hovering silently with judgmental blinking lights, and an AI-operated holographic assistant named Delilah, who'd taken on the unfortunate personality of a retired game show host. "Smile. Jamie," Delilah whispered in his ear, "but not too much. Show teeth and they might interpret it as an invitation to duel or mate, or both." "I hate this job," Jamie muttered. "Then you're doing it right," Delilah chirped. The outer airlock hissed open. A wave of pressurized gas rolled in, followed by a rhythmic stomp that suggested ceremonial boots and a lot of confidence. The Surrey delegation stepped through, towering figures in iridescent armor that shimmered in shifting hues with every motion. They were built like apex predators sculpted by artists, with a grudge against subtlety. At the front strode Commander Lavi. Jamie's breath caught. She was tall, easily over 7 foot, and graceful in a way that made gravity look like a suggestion. Her skin was a soft silvery gray that caught the light like mist. Her long limbs were wrapped in armor plated with intricate etchings, but it was her face that stopped him cold. High cheekbones, sharp jawline, eyes the color of violet storms and long tapered ears that flicked gently as if tuning into unseen frequencies. He'd prepared for he really had cultural immersion sims, etiquette quizzes, hypothetical scenarios with increasingly sarcastic aliens, but none of it had prepared him for the actual moment, for the scent of ozone and metal, for the heavy silence, for her eyes narrowing slightly as they met his, assessing, cataloging, waiting. He panicked. "You're kind of cute." The words hung in the air like a glitch in spacetime. Time didn't stop so much as pause to raise an eyebrow. Silence fell. One of the protocol drones made a confused beep, then gently hovered backward. Delilah crashed in his ear with a choked, "Oh no 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 no." Lavi's ears flicked. Her eyes widened by a millimeter. And then it happened. Her cheeks turned red. Not metaphorical red, not embarrassed blush red. No, her silvery skin flushed with a vivid unmistakable crimson that spread from her cheeks up to the tips of her ears like a temperature spike on a reactor core. She didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there glowing like a decorative plasma lamp. Jamie froze. His mouth was open. Words were trying to escape. None of them had passports. I mean sorry, I just like your armor," he offered, voice cracking like an overcooked polymer. Still no response. Then someone behind Lavi dropped a ceremonial. The clatter echoed through the chamber. A smaller Hursari aide maybe muttered something in their language, and Delilah translated in a panicked whisper. "He spoke the vow that is not a vow." "Oh, that's probably fine, right?" Jamie whispered. "It is absolutely not fine," Delilah responded. "You may have just proposed interspecies bonding." Jamie blinked. "I didn't even buy dinner yet." Lavi finally moved, tilting her head. The red flush remained. Her voice when she spoke was a melodic blend of thunder and velvet. "You speak boldly, Taron. Rare for one so soft." "Thank you," Jamie squeaked. The captain cleared his throat loudly. "Well, why don't we begin the diplomatic?" Lavi raised a hand, silencing the room. Her gaze didn't leave Jamie's. "Later," she said. "I wish to converse in private." Jamie's brain helpfully shut down. Delilah made a soft synthetic gasp. "You've been chosen." "I need a drink," Jamie muttered. "You need a lawyer," Delilah replied. As the others filtered out, whispering in tongues, Jamie found himself walking beside the 7-foot-tall warrior, who now apparently believed he'd initiated a deeply sacred cultural bond with her. The air around her hummed faintly as if she carried a field of static energy. Or maybe that was just his anxiety trying to manifest physically. In the corridor, she spoke again, more softly this time. "You know not what you've done, do you?" "No," Jamie admitted. "But I'm starting to suspect I might have proposed to you with my face." She stared at him, then impossibly smiled. Not a huge smile, just the ghost of one. It changed her whole expression. "Cute," she said. Jamie nearly tripped on his own feet. "Wait, does that mean you're proposing to me now?" Her ears twitched again. "Oh, stars," he whispered. "We're accidentally married." Behind them the dragon-shaped security drone that had been silently watching flared its wings and coughed a tiny puff of smoke. It had seen a lot of strange diplomatic incidents in its time, but this one promised to be entertaining. In the grand scheme of intergalactic diplomatic disasters, Jamie Trenner's accidental marriage proposal ranks somewhere between an ambassador caught licking a sacred monument and an envoy who mistook a planetary queen for a plush toy. Not the worst ever, but certainly bad enough that the SS Dauntless's AI had activated its emergency cringe protocol, flashing soft purple lights and piping soothing whale song through the corridors to stabilize morale. Jamie unfortunately was immune to whales. He sat in his quarters, head in hands, trying to parse the cultural implications of what he'd done. The door chimed, but he ignored it, buried in a tangle of blankets, datapads and a growing number of snack wrappers. The AI, Delilah finally overrode the law. "Jamie," she intoned with theatrical drama. "You can't hide under an emergency blanket forever. Watch me. It's made of breathable synth wool designed to reduce heart rate and cortisol, not shame." He peeked out, hair sticking up like he'd been electrocuted by bad decisions. "Delilah, I told a 7-foot alien warrior she was cute. Yes, and now half her delegation thinks I've pledged my soul. Also, yes," Jamie groaned, flopping back. "In Earth culture, that's just flirting. Awkward flirt. Delilah's avatar shimmered to life on the wall. A silver outline of a woman with a martini glass and far too much eyeliner. The her sorry do not flirt, Cheme, they declare. Their language does not even contain a word for maybe. Only yes and no and prepare for battle. So where does cute fit into that? She consulted an invisible file, roughly equivalent to acknowledge you as a worthy partner, equal in strength and spirit, and seek ritual union under the sight of the stars. Cheme I barely meant I like your cheekbones, which for the record she has registered in her personal decalogue as a compliment of high honor. There was another chime. This time, the door slid open before Cheme could retreat back into his blanket cave. A small pinkish creature waddled in, round, fluffy and wearing what could only be described as a bow tie made of plasma ribbon. Oh no, Delilah said. They've started the gift cycle. What gift cycle? Cheme asked, eyeing the creature. The thing let out a high-pitched squeal and leapt into his lap. He flinched. It's a bond fluff, Delilah explained. They gift them during courtship. It will now follow you everywhere, mimic your mood and possibly explode if neglected emotionally. Explode? Emotion. Cheme looked down at the creature, which was now purring like a coffee machine. It sneezed, shooting a puff of harmless glitter into the air. I'm going to die from sparkle poisoning, he muttered. Elsewhere on the Dauntless, Lavi sat in meditation. At least that's what she told her.
Am I the asshole for quote-unquote training a guy, quote-unquote, like a dog? I, 23 female, have recently started seeing this guy, 26 male. He's super pretty, but he's kind of emotionally unavailable, and he's alluded to an unstable/unhealthy childhood.
Like a dog.
For context, I also work with socializing abused and neglected dogs at a local shelter, and I think how much time I spend with the dogs is impacting the way I interact with people.
It's not funny.
It's not funny, man. It's serious. When we were on a date, I started subconsciously making mental notes about him, like the notes I'd make about a dog.
I don't know why I'm crying. I don't know why this is getting to me.
As a person from an abused childhood as well, which I do have to say I am this, so it's okay to laugh.
Yeah.
If someone did this to me, what she explains, I'm fine with it.
Okay, all right, okay.
Maybe this is how we need to treat all people that are...
Maybe we should learn something from this,
you know, whatever. Just because dogs get
That's
it
so funny.
doesn't mean I don't want it, you know?
Okay, all right,
Shit.
okay, I'm not gonna laugh. It's not funny.
Okay,
it's
okay.
not funny.
For example, I noticed when we went out to dinner, I noticed he ate really quickly and was very anti-sharing. Parentheses, resource guarding. And parentheses...
All right, you're doing that on purpose. You're doing that, okay. If you can connect
like,
what's going on...
Real,
this isn't real, yeah.
But it's great. It's good. It's really good.
Do you have the clicker? Do you have the...
Yeah. But when I offered to pay and suggested dessert, it seemed to make him really happy and a little calmer. Parentheses, food motivated. And parentheses.
Pavlovian style.
He's really particular about his car. Parentheses, territorial / crate aggression. And parentheses. Cars, you're great, man. That's funny as hell.
That says a lot about society,
man.
Yeah.
He likes when I pick where we go / what we do, eager to please, etc. So I've started using the tactics I'd use on a dog with similar problems.
Okay.
Oh, man, this is good shit. And this is actually really funny that I said I would like this.
Yeah.
Because of what I'm going to say.
You would want to have happen to you.
And you know this, which is crazy. So it's crazy that you don't do this to me. Okay.
Write it down. All right. I don't have a pen on me, but let's pretend there is.
Recently, a friend, 22 female, pointed out that it's weird that I keep peanut M&Ms on me with the specific purpose of offering the guy one when I see him and offering them again whenever I can tell he feels vulnerable. She said that I'm being an asshole because he's a person, not a dog, so I shouldn't be training him like one. I don't think that's fair. I'm not trying to control him or anything. I just want him to feel comfortable with me the same way I need the animals I'm helping to be comfortable with me. Humans and animals aren't that different after all. We all just want to feel safe and cared for. The guy hasn't noticed yet, as far as I can tell. The problem is my technique is yielding really positive results. Am I the asshole? Should I stop? No. I'm telling you, as a child of as a survivor of childhood abuse, keep doing it. That sounds awesome, and I want everyone to do it to me.
Is that why whenever I go to 7-Eleven and I get the peanut M&Ms, you're like, hell yeah?
Well, yeah, because I love peanut M&Ms. Wait, it is okay. The thing you learn from this isn't that all people who came from an unstable household love peanut M&Ms.
That was the lesson I learned.
No, it's that maybe we should get the people we love little treats.
Tim seems like the type to have a Snapchat story dedicated to his crash outs. He frequently posts videos of himself yelling about the idiots he encounters in his daily life, and people live for it. Tim, in his car, I am so fucking sick of bad drivers. If you want to drive like a preschooler, then pull up in the Little Tykes Cozy Coupe, motherfucker. I am 2 seconds away from rear-ending you. At least then you might be able to go the fucking speed limit, Tim, barely visible and whisper shouting in a dark closet. If I have to deal with Lex motherfucking Luthor one more time, I might just have to commit a felony about it. Because what do you mean you aren't familiar with our DEI policy outline? We've been doing business for years. We've had this exact conversation like 10 times. Tim, not even bothering to find an empty room. I should have stayed an only child. Dick's voice off screen. Huh? Tim, deadpan. The only good outcome of having siblings is that if they threaten to kill me, I might actually get a fucking break, assuming they can grow a spine long enough to actually make good on their threats, that is. Dick, in the background. Come on, Tim, you guys just quit fighting. Damien, stop. Damien. Damien, now in frame, making a spirited attempt to free himself from the upside-down hold he has been wrangled into by attacking Dick's ankles. I only wish to give him what he wants, Richard. Dick. No, Dami. What did we say about stop biting me? Tim, staring deadpan at the camera while the others fight behind him. I have never envied Jason Todd more in my life.
Random goon. Hey boss, were you the one to pick that name as an alias? And why this one? Red Hood, I used to have another name, before, a long time ago, but that person is dead now. I get to choose for myself now, they can't take that from me. I won't let them. Goon. Huh. Random goon. Say boss, why do you never take off your shirt in front of us? Red Hood. Well I actually have that really fucked scar on my chest and I'm not comfortable with. Random goon, don't worry boss, we get it. You don't have to explain yourself to us. Red Hood, high on some toxin. God, I wish my family. Random goon, on boss sitting duty. Why not try reaching out to them? Red Hood, they would never accept me as I am now. They wouldn't agree with my so-called life choices. Besides, they don't miss me. They miss the person they think I used to be. I wasn't even a man when I last saw them. Random goon. Damn boss, that sucks. And then the goons throw the Red Hood a party on Trans Visibility Day and Jason is so confused he straight up cries.
Tim. So how many types of ghosts are there? Danny. Trapped in a summoning circle. Well, it depends. There are so many variations, but the only ones I've counted that can appear in this realm is 24. Tim. Takes notes. Can you name a few? Danny. I like to consider myself a phantom. We love people, especially to possess them. And we love to talk. Can't say no to a good Ouija board. Can't take pictures of us, though. Then there are wraiths. They are active, always flying around. Can't ask them to stop or slow down. Hate salt, though, so write that down. Ooh, ever heard a banshee sing? Sounds like a fallen angel, I swear. And revenants? Constantine. Trying to set up a banishing ritual. Stop talking to it. It could kill you. Danny. I resent that. I have remarkable self-restraint. The vigilante on his table is actually Nightwing. The entire time, Danny keeps a steady dialogue about the importance of self-care and moderating responsibilities. He recommends talking to a therapist and how his sister is in school to become a psychiatrist and will be graduating soon. Nightwing pays him double, only because Danny refused the $500 tip he offered. So this was the compromise. This is the most relaxed Dick has felt in over a decade. He's so loose right now that some of the goons speculate he's actually Plastic Man pretending to be Nightwing. Jason threatens to shoot him if he poaches his masseuse, but the sister is fair game. Fresh out of med school, Jasmine Nightingale receives a very lucrative offer from Wayne Enterprises. Danny manages to save up enough over a few months to actually pay for classes properly and get the paperwork, which means his nice home office thing becomes a legit-ish business. Meanwhile, Jazz is living her dreams as the better psych for the goddamn Justice League. Danny, what the fuck? Danny just like, I don't know, Red Hood recommend me, and I recommend you? Guys, my husband, a massage therapist, is taking over my body from 50 miles away so that I can tell you that it's massage therapist, and it's called a massage table. Please, I can hear the rant in my head.
DPXDC prompt. Red Hood didn't like people who took advantage of children. Fucking hated them. So when he heard of a new crime lord employing children in their area, he had to put a bullet between that fucker's eyes. Apparently, the guy ran the original gang out of town and set the kids off on petty crime. Stealing money, food, clothes, in some cases, even drugs. Red Hood stood outside an abandoned building. Done at the Ray. There was no security. No goons. Did this guy know he was coming? Is this a trap? Red Hood shook off his worries. No matter. He's just gotta get this bastard before it could get any worse. He crept through raftores boxes. He listened for footsteps. Step, step, step. The footsteps were heavy and dragging. Sluggish. According to eyewitnesses, the crime lord tended to drag his feet. Maybe limp even. Red Hood slid out of hiding. Pressed his gun up to the back of the man's head. And minus. It was a kid. The kid turned around. So I rely on. His long black hair hung down, obscuring his face. But Red Hood could clearly see the way his pale sickly skin sank into his bones. How his dull blue eyes seemed to gloss over and stare into his soul, almost daring him to pull the trigger. Yet, despite the dark of the warehouse, he almost seemed to glow. So, he asked. WHI minus so what? Red Hood asked. He was shaking. He hasn't put the gun down. Are you going to pull the trigger or not? I mean, you've got a clear shot. I just asked you to clean up after. The kids don't need to see that. The teen slowly blinked at him. Red Hood slowly lowered the gun. Just a gang of kids run rampant. Yeah. That's what this is. The kid hummed and began to walk off. Red Hood couldn't really call it walking or even limping. It looked more like dragging a nearly dead leg. Now that he was close, he could see it. The dragging leg. The dead arm in a sling. The Lichtenberg scars crawled up his face, reaching his eye. Blinded and half shut. How did this kid run a whole gang out of town? Red Hood followed him. The kid only gave his a brief glance before shrugging. Red Hood followed him to the back of the warehouse, where a group of kids slept. Red Hood recognized them. Street kids. All either homeless or too scared to go home. They helped me. The kid whispered. I got rid of those people because I hated the way they hurt the people around them. And when I fell sick, those kids stepped up to help. The least I can do is give them a place to stay. You fell sick? You weren't always like this? No. I used to be a lot stronger. Rava. The kid gave a heavy sigh, before slowly lowering himself to the ground, crossing his legs and resting his head on his hand. Now I can barely move without taking. I feel like an old man trapped in a teenager's body. Red Hood glanced between him and the sleeping kids. He was helping them, housing them. In return, they were stealing food and medicine for their sick friend. And Red Hood almost shot him. My name is Danny. By the way, the kid minus Danny grumbled. Red Hood sighed and sat down next to him. Nice to meet you. Danny, I'm Red Hood.
Unhand me! The stabby Robin shouted just before Danny deposited the colorful vigilante onto the floor of his parents' lab. The bird boy was back on his feet in an instant and had his weapon drawn, glaring at Danny as if he were the source of all his life's problems. Whoa, hold on a minute. Danny spoke up, hands raised in mock surrender. I don't want to fight. Then why did you kidnap me? Robin tracked the boy's hand as it moved to rub the back of the teen's neck. Well, you see, the teen said nervously, I saw how nice you were to that ghost bunny, and you hid it from Batman. Robin tensed. Are you blackmailing me? What? No, I wanted to ask for help. Something's wrong with my dog. Robin looked at him like he was an idiot, which, fair. And you didn't take him to the vet because he's throwing up? The nearest ghost vet takes appointments only. The next available appointment is 100 years away and Danny clenched his fists. I can't wait that long.
I spent an entire semester pretending I understood French in a class that was taught in English. It started because I accidentally responded "oui" during syllabus week. Someone made a joke, I laughed too hard, professor asked a question, and my dumb panic brain went full baguette. Everyone laughed. I became the French one. It would have been easy to correct, but I didn't. I leaned in, took notes with a fountain pen, started sighing in group projects. One said "c'est la vie" when someone complained about the rubric. By week 3, the professor started throwing out French terms for my benefit. As Murray might say, l'esprit de l'escalier. I nodded like I knew what that meant. I started getting emails from classmates asking for help translating passages. I'd Google fast and pretend it came from memory. By week 6, someone brought me a croissant as a joke before our presentation. I said merci and died inside. The worst part? Final class. Professor gave us all personalized notes. Mine ended with, "Thank you for bringing such an authentic francophone perspective. Your presence really elevated the class." I said merci beaucoup and walked directly into a brick wall outside. I don't speak French. I never have. I just panicked very convincingly.
Why do Americans put the month first? It just makes no sense. We put the month first because in conversation we say July 1st, 2015. Because it's quicker than the 1st of July 2015. Tomorrow is May 29th, not tomorrow is the 29th of May. That is why we write it May 29th, 2015 and not 29 May 2015. Because we go by how we phrase it in conversation rather than in sequence, because it converts better between numbers and language when written in the former. We also use the month first, because that's how calendars are organized. You have 1 year and 1 calendar, so the year is a constant and can go in the back. However, calendars aren't organized by days, but rather by months. You flip to the months first and then find the day. So, while on this topic we also use Fahrenheit and not Celsius, because a 0 to 100 scale of measuring temperature makes a lot more sense to a human. We know that 0 is really fucking cold and 100 is really fucking hot, which makes sense. Celsius, however, is just about how water responds to temperature and makes no sense when applied to humans. Fahrenheit is for people, Celsius is for water. And I am a people, not a water. Oh, I find this very funny cause you say that, but your Independence Day is not called July 4th, it's called the 4th of July. What I find funny is that our armies were about half the size of the British Army, and yet we were still able to crush your crumby asses, declare independence, and pour your tea in the ocean.
Prompt by @Shawalker's Ineffability DPXDC. Snarky Danny lives in Gotham and is just trying to get a degree but keeps almost getting adopted by various members of the Justice League. Listen, I'm not like 12 or whatever age you think I am. I am an adult that is going to his class at college. I am near graduation and would like to focus more on that than whatever issue it is you have with me. To be fair to Dick, the guy in front of him really did look like a middle schooler. A middle schooler that just came out of a package store with a bag filled with various types of alcohol. The face glaring up at him still had baby fat. Voice still at that young age, a little on the too thin side but not unhealthy yet. He looked like he just got back from the playground. How and why did the store owner sell him alcohol? I can see it in your face. It's the same one all those other heroes had when they ran into me. I have an ID. I have a job. I fucking pay taxes. I do not need help or supervision. Fuck off. And the guy was moving, short legs stomping away. Wait, hold on. I still have questions. There was a sigh and the kid turned around to stare at him. What? I do not need the furry brigade busting into my apartment, so get what you want to ask out of the way. Fucking worse than red underwear guy back in Metropolis. You mean Superman? I don't care what his name is, he thought I was a lost kid and took me to the precinct to call my parents. Got laughed at is all what happened. What's with all the alcohol? College student, just aced an extremely hard and taxing test and me and some friends are celebrating and it was my turn to do the alcohol run. And before you continue on with this, yes, the guy checked my ID, I'm old enough by several years. Just do your weird stalker thing and look me up. Right, weird stalker thing? You are not and won't be the last hero to make this mistake. Nightwing just smiled and tapped on his communicator. Hey, Oracle. Tell Danny I said hi and leave him alone, this is a baby doll situation. Oh, Oracle says hi? Glad she remembers me from the last couple of times, so tell her hello and goodbye, I'm on a schedule. And with that Danny was storming off. Oof, this happened a lot, oh? You have no idea.
After the JL was able to make that raging dragon calm down, they finally got him what he wanted, a rock. A thief had stolen. What got him to rage that much? He returned to a human body as he looked up and down at his rock to make sure it was his nice space rock. Danny, as the new guardian of the Amulet of Aragon, had gotten the problem of collecting things. And the nice space rocks are his. Dragon possessive, and a dragon ghost even more. After being thankful, he turned to a dragon and did fly away. Later, Justice League Bruce. So, how old do you think the dragon was? Zatanna. He is a whelp. I don't think even past 15 years old. No exclamation mark, Bruce. I can give him many space rocks so he doesn't go berserk again, Zatanna. We can just find a place for him to hide it better. Diana is already doing it, she said. I want to make sure the poor baby dragon isn't killed and truly extinct. Bruce. So, I just need to talk with Diana. Sounds easy. I think we all headcanon Bruce Wayne and Oliver Queen going to boarding school together, but what if Lex Luthor went there as well, and they were friends, like best friends? The kind of friend you talk to even after you graduate. The JL undercover at one of Lex's galas to get some info on an evil plan he's been cooking up. Clark, can somebody cause a distraction while I go get the files? Bruce. Oliver? Oliver. No. Bruce. Please? Oliver. Sigh. Fine. Bruce. Yes. Clark. What's happening? Bruce with Ollie walking up to Lex. If it isn't my favorite ginger. Oliver. You can't say that, Bruce. He's not a ginger anymore, he's bald. Lex visibly done with their BS. At least I assume it. What are you whores up to nowadays, adopting 10 kids per week? Oliver pointing at Bruce. That's him, not me. Bruce. At least I don't make one. On purpose, might I add. And then proceed to ignore his existence. Lex. You got me there, Brucey. But I still can't believe only one of your kids is biologically yours considering how big of a slut you are. Bruce. It's not that bad. Oliver. You literally slept with Superman. Lex, who did not know that. You slept with Superman and didn't invite me? Bruce. What? Oliver. What? Clark over comms. What?